girl just laying out topless on the beach today. I was like, nice, I'm gonna sit behind you. So I sat like 20 feet behind her and just stared off into the ocean, but in her direction, obviously. And like 10 minutes into it, as I'm just like pondering life, looking at boobs in the ocean, she looks up and looks at me, and she's like, and like covers up like I'm the crazy one. Like, no, your boobs are out. They're beautiful. I'm gonna look at them. I'm sorry. The options were either sit behind you, 20 feet behind you, and look at boobs, or sit next to the homeless guy who's gonna randomly masturbate to the basketball games. Like, which one do you think I'm going with? And the guy, if you're staring at the guy masturbating at the basketball games, he would never look offended. He'd just be like, that's right, you're looking at this. He'd just keep going, because it's Venice. You don't care. I'm part of LA Casting when I've been out here. Anyone else part of LA Casting? The website where they're like casting just stupid roles for things, like specific things, like they're looking for a 6'4" blonde guy with abs who's part of a biker gang. Like all this shit that I'm not qualified for. My favorite one was yesterday though. It was just very blunt. It was, need a man who looks like he owns a mansion. I was like, I look like I own a mansion. So I applied for it. I never heard back. But I was just thinking, how awesome would that job be? I wouldn't call people and say you got hired. I would call up each person and be like, I'm sorry. You don't look like you could own a mansion. You could rent at best, maybe, but we went with a homeless guy actually, but he looks like he could own a mansion, what can I say? You know they didn't hire a Mexican either, like you just know it. You know it, it's America. Some other crazy things that happened while I was here, went on 2 dates, 2 Tinder dates. First date, met this girl, fell in love with her. First date was amazing, we made out, everything was getting hot. She was just like, I think this is serious. I don't want to have sex with you on the first date. I was like, that's fine. Second date, same thing. I don't want to have sex with you. I like you too much. I was like, that's weird because I have sex with lots of people I don't like. Third date, same thing. I think we should hold off. This could be something serious. Fourth date, getting really hot and heavy. And she looks at me and she's like, listen, I need to tell you something. I have an STD and it's the worst one. I was like, oh my God, you have AIDS? She said, no, herpes. I was like, that's not the worst one. She said, what do you want to do? I said, let's go get a pizza. Because it's like, I even read up on herpes afterwards. It's not that bad. It just has this bad stigma. Like 25% of the room was like, yeah, it's not. It's really not. Like nowadays, you take the pills, you don't get outbreaks. It's really not that bad at all. But I just don't want to end up getting herpes and then having to tell people I have herpes. And then they're like, how'd you get herpes? I'm like, from Sarah. How do you know it's from Sarah? Because she told me. And I don't want to get herpes just because I don't want to have the talk. That's like having to explain sex to a 12-year-old like every other week. That's really awkward and I just don't want to do that.